And we're heading straight to Parliament, where member of the Energy Committee, Edward Bauer, is accusing Energy Minister of stampeding Parliament by asking them to ratify the ECG concession agreement before end of this month. According to him, the limited time will not allow the House to do a thorough assessment of the agreement. Edward Bauer tells JoyNews he is also not convinced that there wouldn't be any involuntary redundancy, citing the Vodafone experience. He has therefore challenged the Minister of Energy to provide details of how the ministry intends to safeguard employees of ECG after the takeover.
Entered into agreements. Look, let's take our mining companies. We go to sign contracts, we sign concessions, we give to them that they are supposed to do X, Y, Z. Sometimes you go to see the company not doing that, and you see over a period of time, you now see the people in the neighborhood or maybe in that particular catchment area revolting against the company because they do not meet, although they try not to achieve what the deliverables are. So we want to have the best for ECG. Right. At the same time, look, ECG does not have lack of expertise. They have it. The challenge of ECG has been management, good management, and then capital injection. And we are hoping that this concession would bring what ECG lacks, and that is capital.
So in this case, I'm sure the Speaker will refer the document to the committee, yes, which is a member of the committee. Yes. So with the minority on the committee, are you going to ensure that the minister provides the detail before you consider the agreement?
Definitely we'll look at that. And you see, let me make a point to you. I'm so uncomfortable with the manner in which the Minister for Energy is trying to stampede Parliament. Indeed, he's already giving timelines into when they are going to sign what concession, 26th of July, well, and other things.
He's believing that by the end, before
my brother, the issue is that we need to be very careful. We need to be very, very careful. This is a huge document. Parliament has always been accused of not properly scrutinizing documents that come before it. Right. Now you bring us a document. Today's date is what? Today's 12th.
Today's 12th, yeah.
A concession that is supposed to commit this country for the next 20 years. You are asking us that we should use less than 10 days to look at it and ask the relevant questions, do the necessary background checks to be able to assent or ratify this particular agreement. Don't you think that you have been unfair to the people of Ghana? Yeah, so when I see him outside making those statements, on the 26th we need to sign this, on 20 this we need to sign that, on 20 this one, when we have not even, yes, but the question is that if you wanted us to do that, you should have brought the document. We came to Parliament in May. This is our current meeting. We came in May. What prevented you from bringing it at that time? The first few weeks of our stay in Parliament, we were doing absolutely nothing. Then suddenly you think that because Parliament may rise on the 29th of July, you think that we must ensure that we finish this, and you stampede Parliament. And when Parliament doesn't do a good job, the public then turns out to this and say, look, we voted for them, 275 members of them, and they are doing absolutely nothing. But they do not realize that it comes with some of these challenges that the executive imposes on us.
Well, Edward Bauer also wants the ministry to make public the names of individuals behind the 3 local companies pioneering Meralco in the agreement. He believes those behind the companies are not Ghanaians.
20 years, assuming that you give birth to a kid today and we sign this, the child will be 20 years before we get back this particular concession. If he's a child who's these days with SSS and other things, he could have, maybe he would have graduated from the university. So you are committing a whole national asset into somebody, into private hands for 20 years, and you want us to use 10 days to look at that document.
It's very unfortunate.
It's not right. And so I think that the minister and therefore his team, they must take a second look at this. It is not about NDC. It's not about MPP. If the lights go off, Masapaka, when you go to your house, the light is off. If I go to my house, the light is off. It doesn't look at political colors. If you are a barber and you don't have lights, whether you are MPP, PPP, CCP, PP, or whatever, you don't have lights to work. And so these things go beyond political considerations. It's about the nation. It's about our survival. And let's not be seen to be doing things just because we think that this thing is for our party and therefore we must ensure that we pass it before we rise. No.
Well, my colleague Parker Wilson joins us from Parliament Live with some updates. Good afternoon to you, Parker. We know that beyond Edward Bower's complaints, a lot more has been happening in Parliament, and one of the top issues for discussion is the Finance Minister's presentation next week, the mid-year review of the budget. What more can you tell us about this?
Well, the minority members in Parliament are raising some serious concerns as far as the minister responsible for finance is supposed to appear before Parliament next week to present the mid-year budget review. For the majority part, they are optimistic that everything that the finance minister would present would be in the interest of the country. But for the minority, one of the concerns they are raising is that oftentimes when they the minister responsible for finance, and I mean Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta, he declines to the invitation of Parliament and rather would send a deputy minister to represent him on the floor of Parliament. The minority leader Haruna Idusu earlier stated that for the minority, they are not going to entertain any such things anymore, and that they would want the minister responsible for finance to make himself available to Parliament so that they can scrutinize the presentation, and even after other development that comes out of the mid-year budget review. So for them, they are just waiting patiently for the minister to appear before Parliament. Now, when he does that, then they will scrutinize everything that he will present before them. But they have given us the indication that on Monday they are going to hold a press conference and predict what the minister would be saying, because they know that already the country has taken a nosedive as far as the economy is concerned. So these are some of the things the minority has been talking about this morning.
It's been the majority's response to Edward Bower's assertion that Parliament has been stampeded. Sorry.
Aisha, please come again. I didn't hear that.
What's the majority's response to Edward Bower's complaints that documents are brought to the House very late for the members to work on?
Well, the majority are saying that, well, for them, they would have to go through the document. If indeed they would have to do that before a Parliament arises, as far as this meeting is concerned, they would do so. It doesn't necessarily mean that they are rushing the document, even though it's quite voluminous. I've been told that it is about 170 pages that would have to go through one by one, clause by clause, to really have a better appreciation of the document before they present their report. The committee presented their report to the House for the House to adopt their report, and then Parliament would easily approve that. So for them, they have shut down the claims, but rather saying that if indeed they're supposed to do that before the House rises, they will do that, Aisha. Now, let me also say that right after that, on the floor of Parliament, something interesting happened where
to get Parker Wilson to bring us more from Parliament, because we also know about the minority reacting to some loan facility, all in the lead to the mid-year review of the budget that should be presented by the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta next week. So we'll be getting more from Parker Wilson on that in Parliament.